What's up, everybody? And let's open up this year with a brand new show that's called Open Class Doodles. Welcome, everybody, to the COACHMC studio. I was just really nervous right now because I was thinking about the million things of this new program that I'm running. So bear with me. And yes, lo and behold, when it's live, things like that happen. This is the beauty of going live and being right now in the moment and honest and confident. I hope you guys had a blast, a wonderful celebration into this brand new revolution around the sun. A couple of days ahead of us that, hopefully gonna be a great ride. So up to a brand new year, up to brand new quests and challenges, and up to a brand new program with the Open Class Doodles. And so without any further ado, I'm gonna take you into this crazy new class. I'm gonna tell you everything about it in a couple of seconds right after this. So, what is the Open Class Doodle? It's tactical doodles for success. And how did I come up with this process, with this presentation, and why am I doing this in the first place? Now, first of all, you know me, guys, right? This is the place where we help you guys perform as actors, entertainers, to shape unique behavior deliveries and to get recognized out there in the entertainment industry and in front of the camera every time you audition, to really impact people with your fantasy, with your imagination, and of course also with your toolbox, with your skill set, with your experience, with your research, right? To be a great performer every time you get called to action, whatever creative product you might present. And throughout my life, even before I got into acting, I was always drawing. I always had like colors, pencils, paper around me, with me. And when I got into the arts, fashion design, industrial design, and then later into acting and creating and working with all these different creators from all these incredible backgrounds all over the globe. And I got so entangled for the last 25 years in so many different artistic challenges that every time I would tackle something new, a role, a scene, an audition, a production design project, a fashion design project, whatever it was, I was always journaling my thoughts. I was always putting down my ideas, taking notes, and trying to kind of find also a visual way in order to kind of generate a solution, come up with an idea, or kind of, just digest the information. So doodles and sketches and tactical drawings, they've been always a part of my artistic upbringing. And at a certain point as a coach, I started inserting them also, of course, into the workflow with my clients to kind of exemplify certain topics or certain things we were talking about in the session. And guys who know me from my coaching side as well and work with me as my students, as my clients, they know exactly. Sometimes I send them out, drawings during the week to kind of, illustrate an idea furthermore, or what I think is necessary to spice up the product, or what the character should do in the scene. I just sent them drawings, and it's, it was working quite well, and it's working quite well. And so I thought, why not kind of create a program for the creative community out there? Why not just, put something out there that is similar to what I do also as a coach, in order to work with my clients, to give them navigation and guidance. Why don't we do this online, live, with the creative community as well? So you can also, of course, at the end of the show, or if it's really something present, asking me questions, interacting with me, and kind of, gaining the most momentum out of these drawings and out of these, reflections that I had, and internal discussions, I would call them, with myself, right? Whenever I'm reflecting on a project that is somehow creative, I'm always discussing back and forth with myself if this is working or not. And I want to kind of, disclose this process, because I believe there is a lot of good stuff that you can use. And since this is the beginning of the year, the start of a new career, the start of a new universe, the start of a new story. We are storytellers. And in my next Open Class Doodle class that is going to happen on Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to jump into the storytelling process and how important it is to kind of embrace that idea as well. But today, we're talking about the acting career, but we're talking about this beautiful topic, in a slightly different way. We're going to approach this by reverse engineering the process a little bit, and also by tackling it from a completely different angle, because, you know, there are so many sources out there, so many outlets that talk about successful careers, and there's so much stuff that you can, read online for free. And, you can also, watch some of my videos on the channel where I talk a lot about, successful strategies for acting careers, for careers as an artist, and where I share also some of my insights and my experience and some of my success strategies and keys in order to really kind of, impact your audience and stay on top of operations for a long time, not only just appearing once and then disappearing forever in the cloak of invisibility, but to stay present on the scenery, right? To be part of this beautiful industry, because there are many beautiful parts, many beautiful aspects about this job. But some of us bail acting, or the industry, or bail being, in the arts business per se, because it is confusing, because there are no clear rule books. There is nothing like a clear map. It's not really math or sorry for that, or science. Is something way more complex and has so many ramifications, and you need to explore it in your own way. Of course, there are certain things that will work forever, and we're going to talk about them today in this first Open Doodle class. Welcome, everybody. It's just a pleasure to have you on board today, because it's a great opportunity to get in touch with you in a bit more private and intimate manner and share some valuable stuff. So I hope you appreciate this program. And if you do so, smash the like button. Just, give it a nice smash. And also, subscribe to the program if you're new to this, and if you need acting tips videos or other strategies in order to, master your artistic quest. This is the right channel. This is the right community. These are the right networks. So enjoy the program, and let's dive right into it. So, like I said, we're going to tackle the idea of a successful acting career from a different standpoint. There is a lot of very valuable information already available that I can't really do better than that. I just can, tell my standpoint on how I got here by, adding the doodle factor, right? Tactical doodles for success means also that whenever you have a career, a scene, an object, a service that you want to produce, something that you have in mind, why don't you kind of, step out of your head and, just, swirling around the same idea over and over again, and dissect it from different standpoints by placing it, on the paper. And this is what I did throughout my life, throughout my career. And this is what I'm going to continue doing also as a coach. And therefore, I want to show you some of the process, but most importantly also to give you like an easy to follow type of blueprint that you can adopt and insert in your workflow as well. You're not going to need to do it maybe as artistically or as elaborate as I'm doing it, but with practice, maybe you get even better than this stuff, right? But it's just a way of, looking at your characters, looking at your world building, looking at your scene, looking at your career, at everything that you want, whether it's micro or macro, from a humorous, creative standpoint. Because I believe, before we dive into the doodle, I believe this is what I wish you guys, right, for this year and for all the years you're going to be in this beautiful, wacky in industry and business. For all these years, I wish you one thing, because that's going to be a deal maker or deal breaker in the end, I believe. It's always to stay on float of operations and being creative, and never give up, and staying positive no matter what. Positive creativity will save your day, will save your career, will save you throughout the year. For all the little technical and transactional aspects that you need to kind of implement into your daily workflow in order to succeed as an artist and as a human being. So be positively creative, whatever comes your way, and you will see you've resolved already much of the equation, right, that poses as a problem initially, but then actually kind of, manifests as a challenge, as a beautiful possibility and opportunity to improve something about your toolbox, which is always great, because, the better you are in the end, the more valuable you become. This is how it works. So let's jump into the first doodle. What we got here is the idea of how a career should work, right? What is a successful career? And of course, there are many occasions, opportunities, single moments that we can't predict. But what we can predict is how we present ourselves to those opportunities, to those great auditions, to those great networking events, to those great parties and festivals, to those great celebrations and rehearsals on stage, whatever we do, right? Whenever we are getting in touch with this creative world, right? It's how we present ourselves that is crucial. Because the initial condition, the IC, that first moment of impact where we really touch down, that matters, because that substantially lays the foundation for 75% of our success. So we need to be right off the bat on a very high quality standard with whatever we do, with how we present, with how we speak, with how we, absorb the information, with how we reproduce and react. How can we do that? By making sure that the 4 pillars of success are always polished, are always maintained, well-built, and structures. And what are those 4 pillars? I believe you need 4 aspects in order to really master any skill in a way that you get recognized and acknowledged for it, and in a way that you will appreciate value through that process. And let me show you what I mean. So here we got one of my worksheets, one of my doodles my clients already are acquainted with. And you see it's a big thing. I use different colors. I use different shapes and sizes, and it's a creative compound of ideas, of notions that all revolve around one big thought, right? And that is, what is a successful career? What are the components of a successful career? In this case, what are the components, right? The ingredients of a successful acting career. And what I do then is, getting an idea first of all the things that I will rudimentarily need for that, right? What is it that I actually need? And, it is sort of informing myself and also my brain what will happen in the future, and already visualizing, manifesting that. And by putting this all on, on 2 sheets of paper, you have it for you. It becomes a very, intimate, very close process. You draw the stuff. Yeah, right now, okay, you might think, wow, this is already pretty advanced in the way of how it's drawn and mapped out. Okay, yes, it is, because, I practice it a lot, but you see, it's not, rocket science, anything like that. You need a couple of colors, a bit of creativity, put yourself in a good mood, switch off everything that distracts you, put on a good music in the background, and just, get down to your cleaned up desk that is a bit uncluttered, and you have a couple of hours, maybe 90 minutes just, and then you you plunge yourself into the discovery of what needs to be tackled this year, right? In order to you kind of flip that switch and become luminescent, right? That people really kind of finally perceive you, where eminent light, energy, positivity, and you more than, chasing anything, more like attracting everything, right? So this is where we want to get. So what do we need for that? I believe there are 4 major aspects. And it is not about, just, saying those aspects. It's about dissecting them. And what I mean is, I believe that, first of all, we need a healthy, very objective, very fine-tuned mental aspect on how we want to tackle this. There is the mental aspect. It's one of the, major pillars of our success. And the mental aspects kind of, ignites the tactical aspect right away. And what I mean by that is, every task that we need to tackle needs, complete focus in order to be successful, right? And that focus comes from really understanding the value of what you have in front of you. Once you align yourself with the value that you have in front of you, the task that you want to tackle, the adventure that you want to, set up on, and what you set your mind to succeed in. Once you understand that value aligns with your value, that you feel that is important, automatically purpose will develop out of that. And so therefore you start to focus, and where your concentration goes, this is where your energy flows. And therefore assessing what's going on and really putting your hardcore focus behind it by understanding, of course, that you share the same value, and therefore it activates your purpose, your why. It gives you the belief. Because here's, I think, a misconception that goes on sometimes. When we're talking about even artistic quests, right? The belief doesn't come necessarily from the heart. And I talk about this also during the sessions with my clients quite a lot, because people believe, yeah, I just need courage, right? I need just the right spirit, the right passion, the right heart. And yes, heart is important. Of course, we need courage, right? Because some of the stuff that we're going to tackle in the future as actors, yeah, it's very challenging and sometimes even scary and frightening. So yeah, we need courage, but courage comes from the heart, because it's le cœur, it's le courage, right? From the French word le cœur, and its root, it's Italian, il cuore. That's where our courage comes from. But courage can also be blind. Courage can also be turned into fanatism, right? And fanatic behavior and an obsessive behavior. So not all the courage is necessarily good and positive. Sometimes courage becomes too much, and then it becomes unhealthy tension, which then, when we are too psyched up, results in us being stiff, right? Physically stiff and not really transmitting energy. And this is not a good place in order to be a great actor and a great entertainer. You need to unstiff yourself. You need to be present and to absorb the room rather than closing yourself down. And that comes from a place of knowing what you are doing, right? And that comes from a place of really assessing it. So the belief comes from the mental aspect and not necessarily from the heart aspect. Yes, we need heart, we need courage, we need that steam. But over here, we need to process all the information correctly so that steam can be redirected into the right channels. Otherwise, it's just hot air, right? Charged air that we can't really condense and compress and put somewhere in order to translate it into real force. We want real force. That comes from focus. So the mental aspect triggers our belief. It's not our heart. And that comes from knowing our strength. And when we know our strengths, we know also where how much we can reach, how much we can stretch, because, the mental aspect is an aspect of flexibility, of being, adaptability, when you can adapt, when you can come up with new solutions, when you can be creative with something. This is where your creativity starts really to kind of play around and fool around. This is where your value actually, your major value actually lies as an actor, as a creator, as an artist. So you need to be elastical, right? That elasticity on stage in front of the camera, when everything is pressing you, when you are, potentially distracted by many different factors, when there is high pressure because the project is important, when everybody's looking at you, like dissecting you every detail and assessing if you are the right match for this big budget production. This is where you need to be flexible, where you need that mental elasticity. And that can only derive from that belief that you have pretty much covered all the bases. There's room for improvisation. Of course, there is room for the unexpected. That always will be. But this is what elasticity means. Accepting that there is 15% risk every time you audition, every time you go into the room. But that is the beautiful, healthy tension that we also need. So therefore, go all for it. But, stay ahead of the, of your operations. Open your senses. Don't close yourself down. Don't become stiff. This is the mental aspect. And whether we are talking about a scene or we're talking about a career, the mental aspect also kind of, gives birth, spawns, and pollutes the tactical aspect. Because if you can assess what you can and what you can't do, then you know exactly tactically, or you should, how you want to approach this role. Let's say it's a role that requires from you, you're auditioning, very important role, great project, great artist as a director, great cinematographer, great co-stars. You are an unknown actor. This is pilot season. It's about April. This about pretty much the last audition of this start of the year. You haven't got any major success, so much, no callbacks, anything. So now it counts. What should we do, right? What can we deliver? And if you know exactly, okay, I don't have enough to present, so I need to acquire some more information. I need to dive into the world of the character. Maybe I need to kind of improvise something, and I need to learn a new skill. So I know exactly I need a new technical requirement, because this is the third aspect. Once you get into the mood of creating, you understand that these 4 aspects, the mental, the tactical, the technical, and the physical, they are like a circular chain of production. They all intersect, they are all intertrenched, they come back and forth. They can't be broken once you really build them and you have stability and control over the execution. You will see this is like an organism inside of yourself, which will heavily determine whether or not this year will be a successful year for you. You see how much this is important just to know that already, that, okay, what do I need for a successful acting career? It's not the headshots. We can talk about headshots on a different occasion. It's not necessarily your physicality per se, your body. It's or how great your agent is. This is how good you are with those 4 pillars of success, with those 4 pillars of discipline. How good you can assess a situation, how good you are by strategizing and, kind of making a tactical analysis, how you should go on, how then you are great at learning those new skills, those technical requirements, right, that you need in order to overcome the difficulties, and then how you can physically like generate an event, an action, something that is, remarkable and beautiful and interesting and intriguing to see, whether that's for a scene or for the entirety of the year. Like, what can I do? What kind of actions should I perform? Where should I go? Where should I audition? Where should I position myself through this year? Understand that this works, those tactical doodles, they work on multiple layers. They are not just focused around, okay, how I solve this. This is not like, let's say modern medicine, right? Where I have one disease, a headache, and then you get the exact medicine against that disease. This is more like a holistic approach, right? It kind of covers many, many bases. Because of course, once we established, all right, okay, so my 4 pillars of success in order to become a successful actor in 2023 are just taking care. Maybe I should just drink something, right? And relax for a second. In the meantime, you can smash the like button and just be reminded, this is just the first Open Doodle class. We're going to have the second one on Thursday. And you know what's going to happen? On the 20th, we're going to have this, a masterclass for free, live on Zoom. And you can just register with the link down below. Yes, the COACHMC. And we're going to talk about the auditions on that masterclass. Just to remind you that we also have every month a masterclass where we meet, network, learn new stuff, ask a lot of questions, and hopefully, are more equipped for our, artistic quests afterwards. Let's get back to topic. So what I've written down here is that life is basically a design challenge. We are not an entertainment industry. We are in the design challenge industry, where now we're back. Where we basically design how we should proceed. Because since everything out there is filled with a lot of turbulences and chaos and confusion, we need to know how to navigate, right? We need to understand what we can, what we can't, what we need to learn, and how determined we need to stay and how disciplined we need to stay throughout the year in order to achieve those summit points, right, of quality. Because this is what we're doing in entertainment industry, like delivering constant quality, enabling excellent entertainment every day, 4 E's, right? Because by doing that constantly, people will just recognize us, be sure of that. Like, Tinseltown is small. It's a small village. Like, this is an entertainment village, not the entertainment industry, right? We know each other. We see each other. We acknowledge each other. We perceive each other. Don't worry. If you constantly deliver great quality, people will knock at your door. Of course, you need to open yourself up to the opportunities. This is not just simple hermeticism. Yeah, I sit in my room and I meditate for the rest of the year and somebody will knock on my door. Of course, we're talking about taking action, performing, delivering, maintaining, building, working, maintaining, building, working, maintaining, building, of course, all the time. But having fun with that and really putting everything just in improving and showing how dedicated you are as an artist, that is the best business card that you can deliver. So take care of your physical aspect, be healthy, right? All the requirements that you look at your body and you know exactly what you need to do in order to stay healthy, to stay grounded, to not, kind of because focus comes from being healthy. If you're nervous, if you're distracted, if there's always something not quite right with your body, then it's hard to focus, to channel all your energy into the performance. And the same thing is also true for our mental aspect. If we are physically ill, mentally, there's certainly also a component that is not doing well, as you know, at the same time. Because if we're physically not well, our brain is not well as well, and therefore we have to take care of those two opposite forces, that they're doing well. How can we take care of our mental attic? By cleaning it, right? By making sure that we have a media diet, by not consuming too much content every day, by meditating, by, of course, also engaging in physical activities, going out, going to nature, and all sorts of things that we know already, right? It's actually a no-brainer. Take care of those both aspects of the internal and the external, and the technical and the tactical will come automatically. They will join forces. And this is a beautiful circular engine, like an arc reactor of the Iron Man that powers your beautiful suit, that will take you through the year and defeat all the enemies. And finally, you can claim victory. Hallelujah. So how can we do that? We need to train like an athlete. I have the incredible privilege to also work as a mental and performance coach with athletes and different types of artists that require more like, their body to function. And there it is very important to really condition the mind in a way that, the repetitive action doesn't become boring, and where, injuries can happen, where you can lose your mojo, where you can kind of fall behind if you're just in that executional mode. So you need always your brain to stay on high alert and to be fresh and energized. And how can we do that? Of course, the answer is installing healthy habits. Get up as soon as you can, right, in the morning, and, train and be consistent about that. And you will see after 3 months, you will already kind of perceive and see the results, massive results. Go on for a year and you will, pretty much change completely, because getting up, energizing your body, how? Well, with music, with dancing, with, yoga, with meditation, with many things. You know how. You know exactly how you need to energize your body. And we're just talking about what? Half hour, an hour max, with breakfast, shower, and everything. So let's say you get up at 6 and bada boom, at 7, you are fresh and ready for the day. And now you're finally ready to perform. You're ready to become what you're capable of, right? Just say, tell this to yourself. This is what athletes do. They just tell themselves, today I'm going to train like a champion. I'm going to exercise everything, that is necessary in order to improve. I'm going to train like a champion, because genetics deals the cards, but the environment plays the hand, right? We know exactly, there might be some inconsistency. There might be maybe a discrepancy with us and the rest. So we can compensate by training, by knowing exactly what we need to do. Our environment deals the cards. So we need to, of course, change also our environments in order to help us really focus on this task and really be, driven by it and disciplined by it and consistent with it, right? There are 3 ways to train like an actor and like an athlete. And this is, you can train so you can compete. You can go to auditions. You can be an actor. You can be with an agency. You can sometimes have like sort of a job here and there and do some income. And it's going to be a good life, right? It's a side hustle. You enjoy it. You kind of express yourself. Maybe it's like a therapy sometimes. You just add this to your portfolio of income, and it's a great thing. But maybe you train also, you exercise your speech, your physicality, you read a lot of books, you absorb out as much as you can, and you train like somebody who really wants to win, who wants to, be a protagonist, be a lead in a movie, be a lead in a series, really be featured, by the studio networks. Then you know exactly that you need to train more. You need to put in more hours, more resilience, more discipline, more creativity to, make sure that you clean your schedules, that you have a side income, that you're ready to tackle all these different tasks. Because, tackling all these tasks already means success, already means you growing as a character, as a human, and as an artist, which then again will help you to appreciate value, to, drive your net worth up. Even if we're talking about a situation where you're not even an agency, right? The more and the better and the more high qualitative, hours you put into your training, the more valuable become, because it will be apparent for the people, perceiving you once you get in front of the camera. But here's the question. Maybe you want to train like you want to dominate the business. You want to be better than anyone else. Think about Tom Cruise, right? Think about these incredibly driven actors like Jackie Chan or Bruce Lee in the past. Like they wanted to dominate their business. They want to make sure that everybody recognizes them. In a way, Jim Carrey or Robert De Niro, he was also so obsessed about the preparation for his roles. Daniel Day-Lewis, right? They would always dominate the set they're in. They wouldn't just come in to kind of compete and play a nice mediocre scene, which is the worst thing that you could do, right? They wanted at least to win, but most on their days they showed up to dominate. And this is how they also exercised. This is how they got into the role. This is how they researched, right? They were obsessive about what they were doing. Trained so hard that winning becomes inevitable. So what is it that you want this year as an actor? Is it, a reoccurring role? Is it a protagonist for a show? Is it, booking something major? Is it getting into the agency and starting to audition? Or is it kind of shifting your net value up, booking better projects, getting into a better agency? Or is it to establish yourself as a household name, right? Kind of create a fan base. Where do you want to take this game this year? And then from this year, we take it to the year afterwards, and so on and so forth. Like, what is your first summit point, your first peak? And how bad do you want it? How bad do you want to get up there? How bad do you want to enjoy the view, right? I'm really excited. Rosita's joining as well. Thank you so much also for being part of the show today. And this is a great question. Like, how bad do you want it? What are you willing, to sacrifice for it? And I mean it in the most positive way possible. It's like, how many hours do you want to put in this? And consequently, like, what is it that you have to, kind of take out of your daily equation in order to be, in order to be ready to deliver that type of performance, right? And this is what a simple doodle like that can do to you, to think about all these things, to go in all these different directions and kind of assess quite profoundly in a very short amount of time, let's say in a half hour, what is all necessary this year in order to, get there. Because like I said, we are not an entertainment industry. We are in design challenge industry. It's about you designing your life. And what I also say is that, people, there is this thing, a good coach, or let's say a great coach, should be there to, help the client to dream, because we don't know how to dream anymore. I think we take all for granted, or because it has become so, liquefied and it is not important anymore, or maybe because we're, of course, distracted by macro evolutions and global, progress and all that. But what is it that we are really dreaming for, that we're really wishing for? I think a coach should help you to achieve that, to dream big, to have big dreams, to really, kind of, if you don't really visualize it, if you don't put it down on paper and like, what is your big goal? What is your big dream? Kind of, is it a movie? With whom? Directed by which director? I mean, who is, the co-star? What kind of scenes do you want to play in that movie? How do you want to appear? What should be the press saying about your performance afterwards? All these things. Like, it's, of course, sometimes an easy thing to say, I guess, right? Hey, dream big, and well, you need big dreams, you need amazing stuff. But if you really want to inspire people, if you really want to touch their hearts, if you really want to create a legacy, because this is what we should be in, not to be a meteorite, to have a bright appearance for a while and then disappear forever. No, we want to be constantly there, illuminating the night sky and shining down on the people, like the Ilus, right? The Sumerian gods from ancient times. This is where we got the idea from, that the stars are actually gods because they're shining down on us. They knew, because light means ideas. And this is what what the beauty is of having a bright idea, a great dream, a beautiful vision. It sounds so mundane, I know, but without big goals, what are we here for in the first place? How are we supposed to inspire people if we don't work hard for an objective that is really, really difficult to obtain in the first place, right? We should aim for something that is quite amazing and yes, very difficult or almost impossible to achieve, maybe in the beginning, who knows? But hey, we're here for, for how many years? How should we use this time? By doing something mediocre, boring, and unspecial? Not that, a boring life is unspecial, but in terms of how do you want to use your force, your talents, your creativity, your energy, by doing something that just requires very little action, or maybe that requires an enormous amount of action and ideas and creativity. Isn't that way more inspiring and wouldn't give that to your system way more boost? So think big, right? And if you pursue constant excellence on the way of thinking big, because if you really have amazing dreams for yourself, you realize, hey, I have to pursue constant excellence. I have to, deliver incredible and remarkable entertainment that is on excellent quality levels every day in order to get there, right? I refuse to be a victim and say, no, I'm going to stay mediocre because otherwise, I get hurt or I'm afraid of what's, next or whatever. No, I'm trying to push for that constant high achievement level where I'm at least of 85% of my capacities, right? Ask yourself, what is your biggest performance as an actor that you have delivered so far in your life? Was that on stage for a school play, or was it, on a show or in an audition? Like, what was the best performance that you've ever delivered? Ask yourself, right? And how much of a percentage was that performance from 0 to 100? Your best performance, if you remember right now, if you get that picture in front of your internal eye and you think about that performance that you delivered, whether there was a school play, an audition, something you did on a movie, whatever it was, right? And now think about, if you compare your full potential and you compare that to that scene, to that performance, how much of a percentage does that reflect your potential? Is it 70%? Is it 75%? Is it 80%, 85, 90? Or is it 95%? How much did you push yourself? How much did you push yourself to obtain that level of quality? Okay, this is your minimum quality level for this year. This is what we want to see from you every time you get in front of the camera. That's how easy it is and how difficult at the same time. So set yourself big goals, big dreams, dream big. We've forgotten how to dream. And if we forget how to dream, we get depressed. We need more meds. We can't sleep well. We don't have a good life anymore. We need dreams. We need to look up and not down all the time. When we look up, we need to get inspired and to see ourselves up there and travel with the stars. And yes, sometimes that will hurt us. Yes, of course. If we get too close to fire, to the sun, our wings will burn and we will fall into the ocean like Icarus. But that's part of the mythology. So what? Then we get up again, we dust off, we brush off our dust, we understand what we did wrong, we implement all our conclusions and reflections, we work on getting a better technical skill set in order to master flying even closer to the sun. We train our physicality in order to proceed to achieve that, and we do it. And then we will achieve. And that is the most beautiful feeling on planet Earth. I mean, suffering is the one thing that instructs you. You need suffering. Otherwise, all the best coaches in the world can help you to achieve better performances. So whether you're suffering because you feel you're not fulfilling your purpose and you're wasting your time with unnecessary stuff that is really not important, and you feel bad about yourself for not completely fulfilling the task of the universe, or you feel bad because you're suffering because you try to achieve something amazing. Both ways you will suffer. Decide why you want to suffer. Because if you dream and you assess the situation also mentally and rationally, put down what you need, what you can do, you get help, you talk with other people about it, and you start working on your dream also collectively,
your belief will reinforce in yourself. It's not your heart. Your heart just pushes you, and this is great. It works, it operates, it's there. You don't have to think about your heart. Your heart is okay. But you need to, think about your mental constitution, because that, kind of, your mental constitution tells you if you really believe in something. Because if you really absorb the information and you figured out that you can do it, you start believing in it. And then you execute it, you learn from your mistakes, you suck maybe in the beginning, but this is how you surprise tactically also the others, by coming up with something that wasn't there before. Because all of a sudden you believe in yourself, and now you are the secret ingredient. Now you are the, chaotic, anthropic variable that mixes up the room. Now you are turning the paradigm around. And that learning curve is healthy. You need that. So suffer for the right stuff, because there are 1,000 excuses to, not exercise, not rehearse, not, perform, not observe great art, not thinking, reflecting, and reading. But there is now one good reason not to do it. So you need to step out of the comfort zone and step into the challenge zone. Refuse to be, a victim of whatever, background noise, of whatever environmental situation. I don't want to play the victim, but believe me, I mean, my upbringing wasn't the easiest. The way I started acting, where I came from, it was very chaotic. It wasn't completely unstable, and it was miserable, and we weren't poor by any means, but we really had to fight and work our asses off really, really hard. I grew up alone with my mom, my father, my parents divorced when I was really little. And, growing up with all these, question marks in a time where it wasn't easy for all the, right and wrong reasons for a single mom. It could have, gone in so many different ways, but, I always focused on what is fun for me. And I always focused on what's positive about the situation. I always focused on what is it exactly that I need. And does this kind of stop me from pursuing that? No. So I'm going to do it anyways, with a father, with a stable family, or with a, creative family, with an organized collective that could, replace to some extent something that a stable household can give you, an order, of structure that you would probably need. But in the end, you are your own structure, you are your own success. So for this year, it's really important to surround yourself with truth tellers that will tell you what they think of you when you perform, that really give you some insights. Surround yourself with people from the environment you want to work in one day, you want to be part of. Surround yourself with healthy environments that are fertile, that are proactive to your dream, right? If you want to become a famous fisher, and somebody who opens up a fishing fleet and delivers fresh fish to the restaurants on the East Coast, it's probably not a good idea to move into the desert, right? It's you want to be surrounded by what you deem should be the field of your occupation. So plunge yourself into the business. Go and search for all types of events, all types of people meeting, all types of celebrations, all types of moments where people are in a good mood, where maybe they had a drink or so, and then just plunge into that event and just present yourself and say, I'm part of this, by the way. I'm success already. You just don't know it yet. So it's how you deal with the question, how can you be successful as an actor, right? Are you a fighter or are you a victim? Who are you? This is your mental belief. This is how everything starts. This is the chain of creation. Because once you dream, like really, and you assess everything and you start believing, you put everything into action, you can wait for the challenge. You're not afraid of the challenge anymore. You can't wait for it. This is, the preparation that you need, because this type of preparation will build confidence. You don't go for the idea that, hey, I want to become, perfect before I show myself. That's nonsense. That's just your ego holding you back from really using your potential by setting up this alibi. Hey, no. I can't. You're just scared. Just go there and show yourself. It's not about being perfect. It's about, aiming for mastery. And mastery comes through repetition. And repetition comes from showing up no matter what. So show up. right? Look for improvement, not for perfection. You can start small every day, perceiving these beautiful goals, and every day you add 5 minutes. Let's say you say, 6 a.m., that's way too early for me. I can't get up at 6 a.m. tomorrow. All right. What is your usual wake up call? Is it 70-30, 750? All right, let's do 7:45 tomorrow. And the day after that, let's do 7:40. By the end of the week, it's 7:30 already. By the end of in 2 weeks, you get the idea, right? Just subtract 5 minutes a day, right? Start with small habits. Don't overextend anything. Don't exaggerate. Because yes, maybe tomorrow you will wake up at 5:30, right? No, I can do. Tomorrow I wake up at 5:30. I energize my day. I wake up, I do my routines. Maybe I journal. Oh, it's going to be fantastic. I'm going to work out and I'm going to be ready before everybody gets up. And then this is how I tackle this year. So tomorrow it's going to be 5 or 5:30. That's great. And then the day afterwards, it's going to be maybe 5:45, 5:50 already, right? And the day afterwards, it's going to be 6:15. And then all of a sudden you start having bad conscience. Oh, 6:15 on my first day, I woke up at 5:30. Damn, this is not going good. I have bad conscience. Okay. And then tomorrow it's going to be even later. And you start battling against yourself instead of just doing the great work, just doing the good work, right? You start introducing yourself into that loop of doom, right? Where you start, talking to yourself and reflecting and having these inner preoccupations instead of just relax. Take it with a positive smile, bring humor to the game. Okay, right now my wake up call is at 7:30. I believe I need to get up at least a half hour earlier in order to be more successful. And maybe by the end of the year, I reach even an hour earlier than that, like 6:30. But that will happen after 10 months or 9 months or so. Or even just by the end of the year, it's okay. But I'm going to start subtracting 5 minutes, which sounds for the brain like way, way smaller and it de-escalates your internal mental panic a lot, right? And so tomorrow you stand up like 5 minutes early. It's like, I did that. Okay, it's not a big deal, but I did that. And the day afterwards, it's already 10 minutes. Okay, 10 minutes, yeah. 15 minutes. Hey, I woke up and you're ready. You feel good and positive and optimistic of what you did and not negative in the way you talk to yourself and denigrating yourself, right? Like an Opus Dei member. Oh no, I did 5:30 on the first day. Now it's 6:15 on the second, right? Because then you start fighting against yourself, right? Make it small in the beginning. So you will see, quick progress and you will feel good about what you do. And you won't have, you won't press yourself and pressure yourself too much. This is how I assess a strategy like that on a doodle. And whenever you have, that opportunity to kind of talk to yourself instead of just watching and staring, on your phone, at your phone or doing something futile, right? Take that opportunity out and talk to yourself in a positive way. Open up your sketchbook, your journal, get a pencil and start reflecting. Maybe by the end of the week, you write down, you have your little Excel table Monday to Friday. And by the end of the week, you write down, hey, how did my Sunday go? How did my Monday go? How did my Thursday go, right? What was the highlight of my week? Is there anything I regret doing this week? Is there anything I regret not doing this week, right? How was my week? Was it successful? Did I do, everything that I've kind of, that I wanted to do? Did I exercise enough? Did I follow my dream? Just start conversating in a positive way with yourself, because usually if you don't do this and this, which is a beautiful relationship because it's intimate, it's full of tactile responses for your brain, you create new neural connection, you can relax, you lower your breathing rhythm and your blood pressure. It's just a fantastic way of unclinking yourself from the stream of madness that usually goes on throughout the day. And now you start kind of doodling and realizing, hey, What are the constraints of my capitalization? What is it that holds me back from achieving peak performance? What is it that stands in between me and the ultimate success? And now you have a positive conversation where you're honest to yourself instead of distracting yourself constantly and throwing yourself into the cage of endless comparison with some AI pictures, right? Which is really nonsense for our brain. Because in the end, like I said, what is a successful actor? A successful actor is somebody who's able to deliver events, to deliver performances, to deliver magical moments, to deliver something that is a bit unconventional. And how can we do that? We need to have ideas in order to do that. And if we figure out a way on how to train our mental aspect, our physical aspect, our tactical assumptions, and how to, of course, improve our technical skills as well, if we take care of those 4 pillars of success, then we have created, a very strong and solid fundament for a roof. And that roof is ultimately the collector, right? That is our, that is our creativity. That is our fantasy. That is what is, controlling all these operations. The 4 aspects, they make sure that 85% of everything that we need throughout the year is covered. But what actually kind of creates market value for ourselves is not only showing up, but to have great ideas, to be creative in the room, right? And to deliver something amazing, to deliver something new. Because that's ultimately like how we divide the Red Sea. This is the Moses complex. This is how, it's like, oh, okay, now something else is going on. Not what everybody else is doing, but, something else. You, confidently, crazy, beautifully, messy, creatively, like sharing something that is, sparking the imagination. And I hear this all the time, and I get so many questions about, hey, how can I be more creative in the room? How can I trust my intuition more? What are, in the end, great ideas? Like, how can I be more creative during my improvs, on stage, during rehearsals? Like, how can I add more to just, saying whatever is written in the script? And like I said, actors are creators of events. We are not just there to say something. We need to act upon something. This is where acting comes from. This is the action, right? This is the action, my friend. We need action. Like, let me take a little break here for a public service announcement before we dive into this last part. Yeah. Like I said, we need action. And here you get the action. Everything about audition. Okay, stop doing this stupid Arnold Schwarzenegger accent. I can't do it, even though I admire him a lot. And I spoke German for the majority of my life. I can't really do a funny Austrian Schwarzenegger accent. But what I can do is sharing my knowledge. On the 20th of January, we have the COACHMC with an open masterclass. You could register with the link in the comment section down below, or through my Linktree link on my Instagram account. You can find these links pretty much all over the place when it's about social media and the COACHMC studio. Make sure to register right away. And where we're going to talk, for this beautiful masterclass, going to be roughly like 2 hours with a final half-hour Q&A, where we're going to talk about the audition process, right? Talking about having ideas in the room, talking about being creative, right? Before we get to the last section of today's open doodle class, like what is it that we need in the audition room, and really in order to blow away the casting director, because believe me, this is what we should aim at, like deliver our work in a way where we blow away people in order to get, remember, not to book the role, but to get remembered, to build a legacy for ourselves. This is what's really important. So, thank you so much, Otaku, the wee pillar, for the comment. I appreciate it. So, join the masterclass on the 20th of January. And by the way, before that happens, something else is going to happen on the 15th of January. And I'm really excited about that because, Ready to Perform, our new acting program, is going to launch on the 15th, where stuff like this is also going to be incorporated, where we're going to, this year we have a brand new program. We have brand new ways of, helping you guys to achieve remarkable performances. We We are working constantly, doing a lot of research, and constantly refining our product. I'm really proud to announce the launch of our new website, of our new program. It's going to be also targeting a lot of our focus and attention to the public speakers, because more and more clients that we receive here in the sacred halls of the COACHMC studio are coming from the public speaking segment, or people that inside of a corporation need to kind of present something, a lot of from the corporate world as well, where it's really important to communicate in an effective way, to have like a great word handling, a great physical appearance, where it's about pitching ideas, innovations, and ignite people's attention and curiosity. And so Ready to Perform is gonna make sure to help you guys, right, and to cover all these beautiful topics. So stop by on the 15th and be also part of our Telegram group, where you can find the link in the description as well, where we, because of all the restrictions sometimes in the digital world, even though we are ready to stream and, we have so many possibilities to communicate, but nonetheless, we are a fairly small channel. And to us as well, it is super, super important to deliver a very personal, very direct message in order to help you in the most remarkable way. So we also open up our Telegram chat to kind of dive into a bit more in depth in certain topics, to share some goofy and silly stuff as well, some art that I do, some ideas that I have. So make sure to join the Telegram community from the COACHMC studio, because it's another way also to get informed and to get another idea of how and what can be done with creativity. And speaking of which, let's get back to what creativity ultimately is, and and how it can be generated. Maybe also, ask yourself this: how can I, perform in a way that people start noticing that something else and something special is going on? I need to be honest and decisive about my actions, and they need to seem natural and organic at the same time. It's not just something that I want to impose onto the audience or onto the scene. It's just something that organically happens out of the character's, reasoning, out of his way of perceiving his environment and reacting to it. And when you are completely immersed and entrenched with your role, acting accordingly to his worldview and to his logic is a crucial, fundamental point about, delivering something that is believable and, when done in, in an adequate manner, even sometimes, entertaining. And when done with a certain raffinesse, when done with a certain charm, when done with a certain excellence of execution, skill-wise, even remarkable and even great. Right? This is how we get to those great levels. Of course, it would be nice to start off with a super, performance and just keep on, doing that. But I believe the stages are always the same, and they are always the same for a certain reason. There are certain steps that need to be taken in order to really understand the craft and perform it on highest levels every time you get called to action. Instead of just, taking shortcuts and maybe just jumping a couple of stairs to get faster to the, to destination. But then when it's really crucial, kind of falling and crumbling because you don't have the necessary skill set to withstand the pressure, which will then result also in other damages that are not healthy, right? They're not toxic. So you're damaging not only your psyche, but also your product, and there are many, many stories about great actors in the past that, took shortcuts, that really escaped the challenge of, reinforcing and solidifying the craft first in themselves, like to a point where they have complete control of it, and then tackling all sorts of difficult and very challenging roles that maybe also sometimes lead you into a dark world. And if you're not equipped with the right weapons, right, you will lose to your demons once you open certain gates. And you shouldn't do that, because we are here to entertain and to heal people, to remind them of their humanity. And if we lose our humanity in the process, that would be just, a waste of beautiful energy. So we should be, ready to tackle certain roles and characters, and to enter certain dark worlds and realms of our imagination. But in the end, the idea sparks the room. And so what I've written here is that ideas lead to options. This is this is the blueprint to creativity in a scene, but also for your career, right? If you have ideas and you put them into Notion, you lead forward, you assemble everything that you need in order to produce the outcome, in order to manufacture the product, in order to deliver the service or the performance, right? The idea that you initially had, that will lead to multiple career choices. That will lead to multiple options that you will have by the end of the year, for sure. So yes, ideas lead to more options. So ask yourself, when you break down the scene, first, what do we know about the scene? Like, even if you're sitting in your casting director's office and this is a cold reading, and by the way, I mean, yeah, we will have a masterclass on cold readings. There's so much to say about cold readings. I feel there's also a couple of misconceptions going on, and there are great ways of doing cold readings in a very creative way without losing your mind, right? Because in the end, cold reading is being the storyteller. You know what? We're going to cover that next Thursday. Open class doodles next Thursday, tactical doodles for success, about auditions, about, you know, being a storyteller, and about cold readings. Here we go. This is the beauty of a live show. But here it is. You have the scene in your hands. Now, for a moment, switch on your logical mind, your left hemisphere of the brain, right? Switch it on and assess really quickly. It's like, what do we got here, right? What do I know? What infos can I get? Be an investigator. Be freaking Bruce Wayne right behind his multiple $1 million screens, kind of, you know, extracting all the informations, all the data out of Gotham, and kind of, you know, kind of mixing it and kind of understanding and finding the solution or a clue to the case that needs to be solved, the murder mystery case, right? So what do we know? What kind of infos do we got? What facts do we have about the situation, about the timeline, about the environment, about the character, about the relationship, about, you know, assess as much as you can really quickly, right? Just put that thinking hat on and like examine it, right? Because what you do here is also lower your pressure, kind of, you know, getting, even if you force yourself at the beginning, is lowering your breathing rhythm, like having a healthy tension and trying to really look out for some clues, even if it's just one clue, right? That will kind of spark your imagination. Okay, I know this, right? You assess the situation. That will kind of lead you, right, to, okay, how do I feel about that, right? If I determine what I know about the other character in the scene and I know my relationship, is how does that make me feel as the character? And as a consequence of that is like, what are the actions? What are the actions? What is the consequence here, right? No judgment involved. What do I feel intuitively, you know, spontaneously, on the spot, what I would do emotionally with the information that I just gathered? What is the ultimate consequence translated into an action? And do that, right? Just exercise that really quickly for yourself, right? And then see, how was that? Like, was that a valid option? Was that valuable? Did I share something interesting? Can I do something on top of that? Can I add something? Is there anything that I need to kind of manipulate to improve? Or should I kind of, you know, toss it away and think about something else, right? Go into different directions. Because if you have ideas, you have options. And people who have options, who have different ways to go that can change their direction, they are the leaders. People, you know, look at them as like, all right, okay, he seems to know what he's doing. She seems to know what she's up to. Like, okay, let's follow her. This is how easy it is, right? This is our subconscious brain. And there is somebody there on stage that presents me something, has options that goes into, you know, different variations of the interpretation of the text that offers me many multiple different, drastically different sometimes actions on how to emphasize what he's saying or what her motivations are. This is fascinating to watch. Now I'm involved. Now I'm connected to the character on stage who's rehearsing, who's auditioning. Now I know I want to work more with this person. I realize, okay, this is a pro. You know, people want to work with positive pros. So how can I get those ideas that will lead me to multiple options? Well, like I said, of course we assess the situation, and then we kind of, because it's a mind feeling thing, right? It's both, right? We assess the situation, and then that sometimes also leads us to knowing how we feel about that. Or sometimes it's the other way around. Like, oh, I feel very, very angry about this. This is really me off, right? Why? Because she's saying something that is actually true. And it's like, why is that true? Because I did that. Okay, so we did it. We reversed engineer it, you know, like we assessed first what the feeling was, and then we rationally kind of, you know, assessed where that impulse actually came from. So we can do it in both ways, but this will always lead to the other or the other way around. So we follow that intuition, which is a combination of what I just explained, the mind and the feeling, or the feeling and the thought, and that will create that hunch, that knowingness, that feeling of, all right, I pretty much know what I want to do now. I have a certain feeling that is accompanied, that is, that is paired with a certain thought, with a certain idea. I combine them, and this, gives me a certain knowledge, right? A certain belief of what I want to do now, and this I do, right? And remember, always do it with the right humor, right? This is not about like executing like a scientific, formula, anything like that. It's creative. It should be funny. It should be entertaining. It should be strange. It should be all that. It should be, full of you and worth watching. So humor is the most significant behavior of the human mind, and humor tells a lot to the casting director what kind of, creator, what kind of artist, what kind of performer you are, because humor is implicating that you have a certain IQ, right? Because humor is exactly that, like have multiple options. Think of what is the most ridiculous now. Of course, there's slapstick humor, there's emotional humor as well, but humor kind of defines if you're smart or not, right? And so it tells me a lot about the performer if he uses humor that happens in many subtle ways, right? Humor is also sarcasm, cynicism, being very cynical and bitey and very sharp. That's humor as well. And all that kind of gives me a lot of subtext, a lot of subconscious information that is beautiful. So once you have that combination of kind of having a thought and feeling something about that thought, right? If that thought doesn't trigger anything, well, then it's probably not full of emotional, information, and therefore it doesn't, contain any creative critical mass. But if it triggers, an image, an idea, or something like, oh, right, I have a vague, kind of idea what I want to do here, then probably it's a good thought. Or the other way around, if a feeling kind of triggers immediately something that you could do, then probably that feeling is right for this moment, and follow that hunch, go, right, go. And always ask yourself, okay, once you did it, that felt good, that felt nice, right? And now change and flip the status quo immediately. What if I was that good? Maybe it was bad. Maybe I didn't take enough risks, right? Let's do it the other way around. What if I completely change the setup? What if I change my performance? What if is a great, powerful question that triggers a lot of, again, ideas, and ideas will lead automatically to actions, and actions will let me appear, as somebody who's versatile, who's always in a moment, who's always, dynamic, and is an execution, not stagnant, not stiff, not severe, not close, right? Open to the scene, open for suggestions, and ready to perform, right? This is how we are creative. And you can apply in the scene, and we can apply this also to our career. Like, what do we know about ourselves so far? Our facts, our information, and check all the data. And it's like, examine where you are right now and everything you need to kind of like determine who your character is. Like, what kind of character are you? What do you need to get yourself to the point where you are this character that performs on that level, and that does everything in a disciplined, consistent way throughout the year to really achieve that, right? So let's follow up with the right actions, and no judgment about mistakes or anything, right? Follow your core sentiment, and just go with that. And you will see that will manifest a more confidence and more resolution and more assertiveness in a positive way also inside of yourself. There are always different ways of tackling a scene and a career. There is no one route to follow all the time. It's you. You are the career, you are the success, you are famous already. I always say that, right? You just need to unlock certain pockets of creativity and really open them up to all your creative channels and use them in an effective way. How? Well, we will talk about this the 20th of January in my audition tips masterclass. Make sure to join. Like, the link is in the description. It's going to be, through Eventbrite, live on Zoom, like always, completely for free. And also join the Telegram group is a great way to communicate with your creative community, stay in touch with me, and, come over to the event, tell your friend about it. If you thought that this open doodle class today was worth it, right? Creativity, the acting career, and the 4 aspects of success, the 4 pillars of success. If the whole information that I gave you today and the doodles inspired you to kind of, mess around with these ideas, then make sure to share this also to your creative community and to tell your friends and folks about it. And next Thursday, we're going to have the next open doodle class. It's going to be about, us being storytellers, because we need to kind of embrace this concept, because we truly are. We need to inspire, ignite, and intrigue people, and therefore we need to tell powerful stories. I will tell you how to do it with a new doodle on Thursday. Hope you enjoyed this class. Make sure to also join my other social media channels, such as Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, and catch me on Saturday Night Hypnosis every Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with the crazy panelists, where we trash bad entertainment, where we celebrate good entertainment, where we, live comic book culture, entertainment culture. We talk about a lot of great stuff, where we also come together as a great creative collective. And just subscribe, right? Just subscribe, guys. Come on, it's so easy. It doesn't cost you anything, and it helps the channel so much. It goes such a long way to support our cause. Be successful, guys, with whatever you do. Train in an excellent way. Don't make up for any false excuses. Watch our videos to get motivated. If you need more resources, let me know what you'd like to see in the next video. We're here for you. We're definitely going to drop also very soon. We're going to continue our series about the acting alphabet, all the necessary ingredients explained through the letters of our alphabet, what you need to impact the camera, the industry, and many more like little and big tips on how you can, energize your career, and electrify your acting, and accelerate your improvement even more with all of our tools, all of our tips. So follow me and leave a like by the end of the show if you like the content, and see you with the next video. And now, guys, from the mind to the paper to you guys, hopefully now you're ready to perform. See you next time.